Hello, my comic collecting chums, and welcome to another Sidebar episode. Now, here's the thing. I said I wasn't going to buy no comics in March. Did I buy any comics in March? I ain't bought any comics in March yet. It's only the 12th as I record this intro piece. So there's still a ways to go, and it does feel like it's been quite a while since I bought anything, but that's okay. And I've not only not bought any comics, I've actually sold some as well. The other week I sold a copy of Daredevil that was extraneous to my collection. And after talking about Spider-Man Noir last week and saying I was going to part with that, a viewer contacted me and said, I'll take those off you. So I was able to pass those along at a good price. Well, hopefully he thinks it's a good price. I thought it was a good price. It was less than I paid, so that was good. They were off to a new home. And it kind of got me thinking while I was organising as well. I was having a look, going through some of this stuff. And there's sets of comics there, all of which I like. I don't kind of have anything I don't like in my collection now. But last year, when I got fully back into collecting and started exploring and stuff like that, I was picking up a lot of different things to have a look at. For example, not in isolation, but for example, DC stuff. I picked up a lot of DC stuff. Some of it was pure cover love, which was awesome. And some of it was to have a look at stories. And it's all been really good because I've gotten to know a bit more about more creators and characters as well, and some of the titles. Now, some of them I'd pick up maybe between 6 and 20 copies of a title to sort of get a good look at them and potentially think about later filling out a run. Looking at them now, it's kind of like, well, I'm not going to follow that up because there's too many other things I would want to collect ahead of that. So should they all be sitting here behind me taking up space, which I'm kind of running out of, and I either need to make space there or add some more shelves in another part of the room. So it's kind of looking at them and thinking, well, they've been great. I've got something out of them. None of this stuff is terribly expensive. So wouldn't they be better with someone who's going to really appreciate them or for whom they will fill out a run or they can do what they want to, frankly. So in thinking about that, that's a couple of things I've parted with just by chatting with people on Instagram or as a result of something in a video. Recently, I've seen a couple of people put photos of lists of stuff that they're parting with or wanting to trade on Instagram, and I thought, that's quite a good idea. I mean, I've used eBay thousands of times, and back in the day sold lots and lots and lots and lots of stuff on eBay. But I thought, yeah, before I do that, maybe I should sort of list some stuff to put on Instagram and see if anyone I know wants it first, which would be nice before you start just offloading stuff to random strangers. So I'll have a think about that. What do you think about that? What would you do? Any thoughts? So it's not, I don't know what, I dare say roughly I could pick out probably about 40 books to dispose of, and I don't think there's anything very expensive in there. From a North American chum, it's probably not worth the shipping for the price of a lot of this stuff. But we'll see. If I get a good sort through and pull stuff out, we'll see what's actually there. There's also quite a number of trade paperbacks and graphic novels I've picked up because they're cheaper. Because I wanted to have a read, and I've had a read, but now I look at them and go, "That's great," but do I want them sitting in my collection? Not necessarily. So I could probably make some room. And that's time I wouldn't have had if I'd been sitting just browsing or hunting for stuff that I want to buy. So that's all good. But there has been some stuff incoming. Now, just a few bits, and a couple of them are actually things I forgot to include in last week's video, which is fine. The first of those is Spider-Man Comics Weekly, number 4 from 1973. That's one of the lovely thick paper ones, which is such a lovely noise. Not particularly looking to build a big run of these. I have been picking up some UK stuff for a project I'm looking at doing. But this is an early issue and it was pretty cheap, so just scooped that up. Lovely front and back cover. And curiously, the only other full colour pages in this, just about halfway between the front and the middle of the book, there's a double page spread for advertisements. And aside from that, everything else is this curious mix of pinky red pages and some black and white ones as well, such as this football advert. There's the letters page, which is pretty cool. So Spider-Man story is the main story, and a Thor backup story. Reprints. Some of the image quality, maybe the original image quality wasn't that good. On this paper looks not like razor sharp, but somehow it kind of adds to the charm for the age of this book. It's what, 53 years? Nice. So happy with that. Second thing I picked up, and these were all in February, by the way, not March. Submariner number 13, Death Thou Shalt Die. And it's pretty cool that this one involves the Serpent Crown, because recently, thanks to my good friend Jonko, I put together the Marvel 2-in-1 run of issues 64 to 66, which are all about the Serpent Crown. That's not why I picked this up, though. That's just a coincidence. I picked this up because last month I had a big box from Big B, including a bunch of Submariners I bought off him. And between those Submariners, the ones I already had, and this copy here, it gives me a complete run of issue 1 to 21, which I'm really delighted about. No gaps. Which is cool. Don't particularly intend to collect beyond that. It's just, I don't know how I'd ended up picking up 21 with a bunch of other stuff, no doubt. But, if I see 22 and add that on, that's fine. But, I don't have plans to get the whole lot. The other thing I picked up is The Walking Dead, book 1. But more of that in the big read. We need to talk about the dead, The Walking Dead. This book from 2013, I believe, from Image. This is book 1 of The Walking Dead, containing the first 12 issues of the hugely popular series. Again, one of those things probably all y'all have read. I haven't. So there. I did back in the day, I think I saw the first series on TV. Later on, somebody gave me a dodgy USB stick with a whole bunch of other seasons of it on. A lot of which I enjoyed, but it was one of those things where the every sort of minute or so there'd be like a jump in the picture or the sound, and I can't watch stuff like that. It just does my head in. What I did see, I really enjoyed. I think ultimately probably the number of seasons there were of The Walking Dead and the spin-off series and what have you would have been too much. I'd have got a bit fed up with that. But I really enjoyed what I saw. Now, this came up, it was one of those early morning finishing time eBay auction things. No bids on it. It was about £2.50 or about $3. I thought it looked in really good condition, so snapped it up. That was in February, not March. And yeah, I don't think it's ever actually been opened. And you could tell because when you open it, it kind of makes a cracking noise and chemicals coming out the pages, which kind of indicated this has never been read. Let the vapors release. So very, very happy with that beautiful book. And it was literally just a sort of like I've never actually read this. Like the TV series, it's dead cheap. Let's have a look. So I did, and oh, am I glad I did. Wow. Now, so Robert Kirkman, it's obviously a name I know a lot, heard a lot about. I'm not sure if I've read anything else of his yet, but things like Skinbreaker are definitely on my list and hear a lot of chat about that. So probably in a couple of years, I'll pick that up and go, hey guys, have you seen this? Art from Moore, Adlard and Rathburn as well. So if you're not familiar with it, quick recap. The sort of main character, Rick, is a small town cop who gets shot in the line of duty. He's in a coma. While he's in a coma, the zombie apocalypse happens, and he wakes to find the hospital empty and everybody's disappeared. So he starts to make his way out of the hospital, encounters his first undead. He's no idea what's going on or what's caused this. No one's around, everything's a mess. He starts to piece it all together and sets about, setting out on a journey to find his wife and child. He's no idea where they are. So along the way, he encounters small pockets of undead and small pockets of survivors as well. Within the first few pages, my initial thought was, okay, the art is what I think of as like a sort of modern style. It's quite light. It's a little bit sort of scratchy. There's often not a lot going on in terms of backgrounds. It's all in black and white. I'm absolutely fine with black and white. But, you know, this kind of thing. So not bad by any means. It took me quite a number of pages to suddenly realise there's no captions, there's no narration, it's just dialogue. Quite often, as we'll find when Rick is wandering about on his own early on, there are quite a few panels and pages with absolutely no dialogue or very little, unless he's sort of uttering a curse. Later on, when he meets groups of people, there's quite a lot more dialogue. So where I'd initially thought, oh, the art's this modern style, it's kind of scratchy, black and white, that's fine. What I quickly learned to appreciate is how much this breathes. And, you could in seconds work through these 2 pages and figure out what's happening. Look at the, any dialogue there is. In fact, he only says, oh God, in these 2 pages. Other than that, you've got a couple of sounds. That's it, really. And then go back and let the pictures tell the story, which they do extremely well. It's wonderful. It's really, really wonderful. The layouts, it's a sort of quite traditional panel style here. I like it when artists have things bursting out of panels and they break up the traditional 8 or 9 grid thing, whatever it is. But this always works. Sometimes that doesn't work. This always works. Everything's kind of easy to follow. On the art being in black and white, there's a couple of instances where there's like a crowd of undead and a crowd of survivors, and the undead are chomping the survivors, and the survivors are shooting and hatcheting the undead, and it's a bit of carnage. Couple of small places where I was like, who's that getting chomped? And you're kind of trying to determine that by the pattern on their clothes. Now, in the next panel or two, you can quickly work out who's who and what's happened to whom. Just a couple of places that happened, whereas colour might have helped distinguish, a bit easier. But it's such a tiny thing, and I wouldn't change what they've done with this book. The art's absolutely superb from the guys that worked on it. The writing, Mr. Kirkman, wow, just wow. So, like I said, it's it's only dialogue. There's no captions or narration, and there's a point, for example, where Rick encounters a large group of people, and there's a lot of introductions and a lot of sort of incidental conversation. It just is perfect. It flows. You very quickly get to learn a little bit about each of the characters. The characters develop quite quickly, which is just as well because some of them aren't around for long, can't get too attached to anyone. And how do I explain this? Some of the conversation, some of the dialogue is mundane stuff. day-to-day making arrangements, reasons for doing stuff, where you might expect this to be more dramatic dialogue and big sort of one-liners before someone takes a zombie's head off or something like that. It's not, and it's the kind of stuff that, if, for example, you're watching something on TV and the people are kind of like, what should we do? Should we hang out tonight? Yeah, let's hang out tonight. Great, I'll see you later. And you're kind of, I don't know about you, me, I'm kind of like, what time? Where are we? Where are we meeting? What time are you meeting? Where? It just annoys me that little things like that. And granted, if you went into an Ian Fleming level of detail on everything, it would be dull, it would be boring. And this, it works. And I think because of the way it's laid out and set out, it very much draws you in. These are the observations you would make. These are the questions you would ask if you were part of that conversation. I think there's something terribly clever in there. It's too clever for me to articulate. But there wasn't a single page where, even when dialogue was really heavy, anything dragged, or you were kind of looking to skip on to the next bit. It's absolutely superb. Where you might expect there to be more undead carnage and killing and axes, there's plenty of that. Central to this is the people in these extraordinary situations, their relationships, their unpredictable behavior, their paranoia, their fear. All of that's palpable. It's absolutely superb. And the undead are almost incidental. Even though, like I say, there's plenty of action sequences, but you might be expecting more gore than there actually is. But yeah, the frustration, the paranoia, the arguments, people acting out of character, is what really keeps you gripped all the way through. So there are 12 issues in this superb tome, and I absolutely tore through this. I literally couldn't wait to read the next one now. And before I start giving out the so far it's my book of the year kind of thing, is it? Well, maybe it is. Very recently, I did a piece on Helen of Windhorn, and I said it's, if not the best, one of the best comic things I've ever read. Well, here's another one. I was always looking forward to reading the next bit of Helen of Windhorn. I couldn't wait to read the next bit of this. So I'm not saying it's better, it's different, but it's up there. It's up there. I don't know how many black and white pages I can show you with this stuff going on, but it just pulls you along. There's one of those dialogue heavy pages or double pages. It doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like it. The conversation, the language, it's gripping. It's really, really gripping and superb. So I got straight on eBay and other sources and looked to see how much would volume 2 or book 2 cost me. It looks like I'll be able to pick it up. I'd like to get a kind of uniform one. My Astro City books that I picked up so far, they're all in a different format, which I find intensely annoying. So I'll be looking to see if I can get the same style of book for volume 2. Don't care what printing it is, really. It's all about the reading. And I'll be able to get one it looks like I'll be able to get one for under £5, which is what, about $6 something US equivalent. I'll have to wait to April to do that, because I'm not buying anything in March. Curse you! But it's going to be worth the wait. And it's top of the list for April when the buying embargo is lifted and I start buying again. This is one of the most gripping things I've ever read. I don't know how many books there are, and I'm not even going to look and try and find out. I'm going to just wait till April, pick up book 2, read it, hopefully enjoy it as much as this one. Then I'll look at book 3. I'll wait for book 3 because it makes it better. I could go and buy them all now, have them all sitting waiting for me, burn through them all. I'm not. I'm going to have that anticipation. Ooh, I can't wait for book 2 to arrive. What did you think of it? In closing this week, a couple of things I'm going to merge together. Recently, I've started seeing at the end of Sidebar episodes, this week on People with Issues, we have such and such, which kind of makes sense to do. The other one is a very specific recommendation, and the two are related. It's not uncommon for people making comics-related YouTube videos to, talk about channels that they've come across, or people that they've met, or things that have happened, or things people have said, and shout things out. This is very specific. If you're familiar with Robert Emmons or Robert Emmons' channel on YouTube, you already know this, and I know you're going to endorse what I'm about to say. You just are, because that's what we do. If you're not familiar with Robert A. Emmons, Babby, this is a real treat. And I hope there's just one person who's kind of like, who? No, I didn't know who he is, but this sounds interesting. I'm going to have a look and come back to you. What a journey you're about to embark on. Robert's got a YouTube channel called Sequential Artifacts. Now, Robert is a documentary filmmaker. Bobby, tell me if I misrepresent you at all and what you do. Now, it's his profession, and he teaches this stuff as well. So technically, he's brilliant. He's amazing. His videos are fantastic. Now, last year, Robert embarked on doing a series of 12 specific videos related to comics and comics in his collection. So what you get is you get that technical brilliance, right? They're short. They're about sort of 10, I think average sort of 10 to 15 minutes. They're not long enough. And each one relates to something different about comics. So, for example, there's one on sort of silent comics, comics with little or no dialogue, kind of relevant to bits of The Walking Dead, which I was talking about earlier. There's another one on Orson Welles, his connection to comics. There's another one on miniseries in comics, and so on and so forth. So kind of different things. Now, you can go and dip in and out of them. You don't have to watch them in order. What I would say is if you go to Robert's channel and you look at the list or gallery, you'll see last year there's a set of 12 videos identifiable by their thumbnails, because there's a consistent style to all of the thumbnails, different colors, different imagery, but you can see the 12. I'd recommend watching them in order, but you don't have to. Every single one of them is brilliant. Apart from the technical expertise, Robert's imagination, the way he does the things he does in the videos, the design of them is incredible. Sense of humor is subjective, but I can't see anybody not loving Robert's sense of humor. It's just fantastic. And it's about comics. Now, he's got a lot of older stuff going back years and years and years. If you like what he does and you want to have a look at that, get it done. And since finishing that series, I'm delighted to say there's been another couple of comics-related videos since, which is good, because I would have been upset to get to the end of the 12 and find that there was no more. I've had the pleasure of speaking with Robert recently and doing a little thing or two with him, which has been a joy. And I'm so delighted to say he's my next guest on People with Issues. One I really had to think hard about preparing for, because he's different. He's different. Just spectacular. So, already know Bobby, you're familiar with his work. Leave an endorsement below, encouraging those who haven't to get on that train. For those of you that haven't, if you do, go and have a look. You won't regret it. And let me know how you get on, or let Robert know how you get on. So that's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed what you saw today. Thank you very much for tuning in. And until next time, stay groovy.